one other thing about the Week 2 module, you might want to review the Empire of the Summer Moon, the review podcast. I go over the reading pretty carefully, and I give you, I think, a pretty clear sense of what you're going to be tested on in that from that reading. Let's see now. So let's go to week 3 again. I can't stress it enough. Take a very close look at the outline. I feel anything I put on the outline, I can test you on. Let's see. You don't really, I don't ask any questions about Texas and the American Revolution or the Tex-Mex food video in the midterm. I'll just go ahead and tell you that. I think I misspelled, I can't spell documentaries for some reason. I think I misspelled it there too. It's weird. I'm a really terrible speller, by the way. Anyway, I think I misspelled it, but I guess I'll just have to live with it. Week 4, which is this week, again, a very, very detailed outline. Once again, that's really your big thing, I think, for studying for the midterm. I give you a very, very detailed orientation of Forget the Alamo, what I'm looking for in that book. And it's worth your while to take a listen to that, orientation. Listen to the Fresh Air interview by one of the authors of Forget the Alamo and see where he's coming from. And where that book is coming from, why they wrote it, what their take is on the Alamo, how they're approaching the Alamo. I think it's really interesting. Of course, you may not. You may just think it's horrible and I'm wasting your time. But I always think it's interesting to understand where authors are coming from. I want you to listen or look at that short documentary, know the story of the plantation, know the story of especially one of the enslaved women who worked on the plantation, who ended up being partners with the white owner of the plantation, and what's her story. Know about the Louisiana Purchase and that the U.S. purchases Louisiana in 1803. That's a big moment in the history of Texas. Know the Adams-Onis Treaty, know the boundaries that it sets. I'm very, very interested in boundaries. So know the boundaries that this 1819 treaty set. And I think I have like a 9-minute documentary on it. So you're definitely going to be tested on that. Take a look at, you do not have to know, I'll go ahead and open this up. I'm not going to drive you crazy by making you know all the impresarios. That would not be too cool. But know who impresarios were, what their role was, the Mexican government after 1821 is trying to settle Texas, and it's agreeing to let impresarios bring in many cases, especially Stephen F. Austin, American families into Texas to hopefully populate Texas, to hopefully help the Mexican government fight Comanche. And it's that old bugaboo that from the very beginning that the Spanish failed to really populate Texas to any extent. And the chickens come home to roost really for the Mexican government after 1821 because Mexican Texas is surrounded really, or at least to the east and to the north by a very hostile and aggressive U.S. that outnumbers it by, gosh, 300,000, something like that. So, but again, you don't have to by any means know all the impresario and where their land is. If I wanted to torture you, I could make you learn that, but I don't feel like torturing you. It's why people, that kind of thing is why people hate history, honestly. Let's see here. Very important. Know the map of Mexico in 1824. Know about Coahuila y Tejas, which was the state that was created, the Mexican state that was created in the Constitution of 1824. Saltillo here was the capital look how far away it is from East Texas, even San Antonio, but especially East Texas. No, that's going to play a major role in midterm, in not only in Texas history, but in the midterm. So know that map, okay? Know the administrative unit that Texas belongs to during the Mexican period. It's a big part of our story. Um, let's see here. Yeah, I'm very, very interested in boundaries. And let's see, keywords for week 4. Again, in some ways, the keywords for week 4, it's a repeat really of the outline I put for the podcast. So basically, what we're seeing in week 4 is that Mexican Texas, although it belongs to Mexico, is being Americanized. By 1836, there's more Anglo-Americans, like 30,000 in Mexican Texas than there are Tejanos, only about 2,500. And in fact, there's twice as many slaves as there are Tejanos. And as part of this in the 1820s, what's happening is Texas is becoming part of the global cotton economy. And in many cases, if they could, Anglos are coming into Texas to grow cotton, but they're bringing in their enslaved with them. So what we're seeing in the 1820s is Texas is becoming much like the U.S. South. You have cotton production based on the slave labor, and of course, the slave labor is horrific. I'm going to talk about that in subsequent weeks. Family separation, violence against slave, severe punishment, whipping. Um, um, anyway, horrific conditions, and that's Texas is becoming very, very different in the 1820s than it had been before. It had been basically a ranching area, underpopulated, dominant native groups, a small Tejano population. In the 1820s, there's a real shift in Texas history as Mexican Texas becomes honestly more American than it does Mexican. And we'll talk about that. I'm recording a lecture this afternoon. We'll talk about that, or I'll talk about that more after the midterm.